You know, one thing I'm noticing more and more as I engage people that, continue to, live in the world and do what the world does, which is depend on the world. I'm noticing more and more that people that are unprepared hate people that are prepared. I was recently speaking to two people that I've known, still do know, but from the past. One works for the Department of Veteran Affairs, and the other one works for the IRS. And as we know, or it's been reported, that the IRS has laid off about half of its workforce. And how they found out was apparent. This was being reported. A email and locking out of their accounts. Now, this is typically how a company, like I said over and over again, I have an HR background. I used to work a lot with directors of human resources generals, payroll specialists, benefits specialists, time and attendance specialists, all of these things associated with the human resources department. I'm intimate in every detail of HR and knowing the operations of it. But not only that, how they think, how they view employees. So these folks have, been laid off. And they do it in such a cold fashion. And these people like their jobs. Department of Veteran Affairs, that person has been furloughed. So the one from the IRS has been fired. The other person from Veterans Affairs has been furloughed. And, it's one of the things, it's one thing to read about stuff and what's happening in the economy and the world. And it's another thing having a personal effect on you. But in addition to that, when you speak to a man like me, and known a man like me for a number of years, and I've been harping and pressing and screaming and shouting for so many years consistently, to not depend on this system, and that these jobs don't love you, have no loyalty to you, whether it's private or public. And that they'll fire you in a heartbeat. People are experiencing this. They're seeing this. And then, on top of that, they have the privilege of speaking to me, depending on how you look at it, right? About their current situation. And listen, I don't say I told you so. I'm not the type of person that gets on the phone and say I told you so, because I want to encourage people in spite of what people may think. I really do want to encourage people to use this as an opportunity to change their course and direction in life. But unfortunately, a lot of people they won't do it because they're stuck in their ways. And unfortunately, the ways that they have adopted is going to lead them to a lot of heartache and distress. So you got to understand that just because somebody's been working for the federal government for 25, 35 years does not mean that they don't live from paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, they live from paycheck to paycheck just like everybody else. Could their job at that time been a little bit more secure? Of course. And we've seen that through history. The recent, 40, 50 years. These government jobs have been a safe haven for those who really have no skills or talent. But in addition to that, people who have a mentality where, I'm just going to get this government job and I'm going to ride it out for 20 years and I'm going to get a pension. And the gag is that, the pension amounts, the retirement amounts that even a full-fledged person that has worked the full and getting the full pension amount, it's not inflation adjusted. They're not still going to be able to live off that money for the rest of their life, provided they have, mortgage, bills, rent, car insurance, all these expenses that bind them. So these people are actually going through this. And they're asking to borrow money, which I say no. I don't loan out money anymore. I don't borrow. I'm not loaning out any money anymore. The time for that is over. If you want to come work for it, we can make that arrangement. You can work for it, but I'm not giving anything to anybody anymore, because the time of warning has been for a very, very long time. I think about Noah. Now, he preached for 100 years and only 8 souls were saved. And we're seeing, as it was in the days of Noah, we're seeing this happen right now, where you try and warn people, and I've been warning people. People might have been aware of this situation for many, many moons now. I've just been aware of it for the past 12 years, 10, 12 years. I would say 12 years, and I've been warning ever since. There's other people that's been aware of it for 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years has been sounding that long. I mean, I can remember back in the 80s, people getting up before Congress and warning about $1 trillion deficits. We're in 34, 35 trillion dollars now. So I can remember that time. But again, I digress on many different things, but going back to my original point, a lot of people that are not prepared for what's taking place in their lives, they don't like prepared people because it hurts, it scars, because it's a reality that they have to face, and they're panicking, they're stressed out, but unfortunately they're not still going to make the corrections necessary. And I'm talking about people that are responsible for other people as well. And it's unfortunate. I always think about the children that are going to be affected as a direct result of the irresponsibility, malfeasance, the myopic thought process, the lack of vision and courage that parents have and that produce children. There's a lot of pain that's already happening now. The psychological pain and the emotional pain is the precursors to the actual physical pain, because it's one thing, I've lost my job, and where am I going to get this money from to pay my back rent or my back mortgage? There is no money. So that psychological pain and that emotional stress kicks in immediately. And although they're still in their home, the lights are still on, it's that 30-day, time period, 45-day time period before this gets cut off, that gets cut off, this eviction notice takes place, they repo the car. See, it all takes place in the span of 90 days to 4 or 5 months, but they're in a state of despair during the entire time. And from the that's why it's so important to say, hey, this is going on, and act now, because people get into this state of depression, and it causes them not to be able to respond quickly to the situation and adjust and deal with the pain, because you're going to deal with pain. These people are going to deal with pain, and it's one thing, again, to read a report. It's another thing to get on the phone with people and to see them go through it. But you also see the hatred and hear the hatred and the resentment from people. Because I've yet to hear, hey, you were right. What do you think I need to do? Well, that's one thing that they'll never do. In spite of their situation, they'll never ask for the advice or the direction. They want handouts. That's what they want. They don't want solutions. They want handouts to hold their current position that's falling. I mean, hey, what's a short-term loan going to do for you if you haven't fixed a long-term strategic problem? I mean, it's not going to do anything for you. And that's the sad thing. It's not going to do anything for them. You're just putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. They're mortally hit. They're mortally wounded. Nothing you can do about that. But for those who get it and understand it, continue to stay encouraged and prepare and adjust accordingly. Personally, in closing, I would say to myself, well, what do I need to adjust in terms of my preparedness? Is there any room that I can enhance or get better or improve upon it? Of course, there are minor things that I can do. But overall, the main objective and what I've been focused on is consistently, storing food, making sure that, you have your emergency fund, make sure that you're getting the critical projects done necessary to weather the storm, because it's going to get worse. It's going to continue to get significantly worse. And that's another video I'm going to do. Even though those that are in preparedness are not prepared because of lateness, idleness, surrounding themselves with the wrong people, wasting time, scammed, hoodwinked, all this other stuff is going to affect people as well. It's very unfortunate. But you folks out there, stay encouraged. Shalom.